Hey guys, Taro here, bringing you the December balance preview version 1.5 update. These updates are coming out thick and fast. It feels like only just yesterday I broke down 1.4, but getting on to the business, I'm going to split this up into two parts again, the general changes and the commander changes into two different videos. So let's get into the general changes. LFH/B4/ML20. Cost of these howitzers and PAT 43 more accessible and smaller. To make the cost of these howitzers more accessible in smaller game modes, while less potent when shelling into a base without spotters. So I guess that's their goal. Scatter penalty when firing into fog of war increased from 1.25 to 1.75. Affects both vertical and horizontal scatter. Doesn't affect the B4. So the B4 already scatters like crazy. So just the LFH and the ML20. In some ways it's better, right? Because if you know a howitzer firing at your base, you try spread your troops out. Maybe stay in range of your base if you need to reinforce your squads. Now your squads are going to have to just run out of the whole area because the shots will be scattering a lot more widely than before. So yeah, I mean, probably makes it worse at shelling forward retreat points, but may make it better at shelling the base. So kind of. Prices changed from 600 manpower to 400 manpower and 50 fuel, so bring it more in line with rocket artillery. I mean, Katyusha's 375 manpower, 75 fuel, so yeah, bring it more in line with the cost of rocket artillery, especially because there's a lot of off maps that can kill howitzers, so having them cost so much manpower, it's like, two medium tanks worth of manpower. It's a bit unsustainable to be countered by one click. ML20. Extra shells received at Vet 1 reduced from +2 to +1. Mid damage modifier increased from 0.015 to 0.028. It's a pretty decent mid damage increase. Remember, the ML20 does 200 damage per shell. So it's a reasonable increase in its area of effect. LFH damage no longer increases at Vet 3, so yeah, Vet 3 used to go from 160 to 200 like the ML20, and I think even after the ML20 got its +2 shells, it was still 2 shells down on the Vet 3 LFH. And I think LFH has better scatter as well, so it was a bit unfair. The LFH was a bit stronger. LFH weapon change at Vet 3 removed. Weapon change at Vet 3? Oh, I'm not sure what that means. Improved scatter and range bonuses. The veterancy guide. Let's check the old veterancy guide. See what they're talking about. LFH. Oh, the veterancy guide's not even up to date. Doesn't even tell you about the bonus damage. So that's not going to help us. Whoops. B4 population reduced from 20 to 15. It's supposed to be 15 all along. That was a bug that they introduced when they were changing the population of the weapon and the units reinforcing the weapon. Maybe like 2 or 3 patches ago. I think at one stage it was 30. It was 30 supply. Then they half fixed it to 20. Now it's finally getting fixed. Pack 43 price changed from 500 manpower to 350 manpower, 45 fuel. So make it a bit more like the pack howitzer. The howitzers in that respect. OKW Pack 43 now earns veterancy at the same rate as the Wehrmacht Pack 43. I'm not sure what the differences were there. I don't know. Pack 43 is veered up pretty quickly anyway. Maybe the OKW one veered up more quickly, if I had to guess. Soviet repair stations, Soviet industry tactics. Due to the general changes to repair, Soviet repair stations are being given a manpower price to limit a player's ability to mass produce them without sacrificing unit production. Cost increased from 75 munitions to 120 munitions. 120 manpower, 45 munitions. That's a larger manpower value than I was expecting. I think the OKW repair truck upgrade is 100. Right? I'm pretty sure. I was expecting maybe like 100 or maybe even 80 manpower, but like Soviets certainly don't usually lack munitions in the late game, but they do lack manpower. So this is definitely going to make you think twice about building repair stations. Conscripts, URA ability cost increased from 10 to 15 munitions. Yeah, that's fine. Especially with conscripts receiving all these changes. 10 munitions is probably a bit too cheap. That's a fine change. British command post. We are reducing the cost of Tommy grenades to improve viability of this upgrade. Purchase. In addition to this, we are lifting the command post requirements to buy grenades to allow for more diverse tier 1 openings. Grenade package cost reduced by 50 manpower, 5 fuel. Weapon rack unlock and grenade unlock no longer require tech structures. Built. I mean, yeah. Locking grenade behind tech doesn't really make sense. But what are they counting as tier 1? Are they counting like... Because, yeah. I suppose you have to count the first stage of tech as tier 1. Company command post is when you get tanks that should be tier 2. I don't know. Anyway, Brits can get LMGs earlier, basically, and grenade costs gone down. I mean, if you compare this to, maybe we can check what some Molotov upgrade costs nowadays. So yeah, similar cost to the Molotov upgrade. Slightly more manpower. I think I'd rather have a grenade than a Molotov. So that's alright. Vickers K. We are improving the responsiveness of Vickers K to match its intended performance. Ready aim time max increased from 0.5 to 1. So this is the LMG you get from the half-track and Special Weapons Regiment. So nerfing it slightly. Mortar pits. We are improving the responsiveness of the mortar pit when in barrage mode and making barrage timings less tight to allow the mortars to desynchronize. Barrage aim time for both mortars decreased from 0.5/1 to 0.125. Barrage reload time changed from 4 to 4 to 3.3 to 5 for both mortars. So I imagine, yeah. So maybe the barrage, like, were coming in 2 shells at a time for every reload, but now they might come in like 2 shells for the first one, and then because of the different reload timers, they might start coming in like one shell, like on a slightly different timing, and that should overall make it probably less lethal against infantry, because you have 2 shells land at the same time. It's quite likely to do more likely to do lethal damage because you less time to retreat. So it seems like another nerf to the mortar pit, but maybe the aim time will make it feel a bit more responsive. For marked Austwind, penetration decreased at longer ranges, so by 10 at long range or mid range, and by 10 at long range. And this is I mentioned this in a cast. It did seem to be a bit strong, especially when fighting against the rear armor of other medium tanks. Its penetration did seem to be very strong. Now it'll still be strong if you get up close and do a risky maneuver, but at mid to long range it won't be that effective. So especially because the Austwind's so fast, I think it's one of the fastest tanks in the game. It's got 6.3 speed. You know, chasing down an enemy tank, especially if it's got like a main gun destroy crit, which is quite likely to happen when fighting against the Austwind, because main gun destroy crits happen when you go under 25% health on your vehicle. The Austwind's damage doesn't, like most tanks, it's 640 health, 160 damage, so 4 shots kills it. So, on the 3rd shot, the tank will go down to 160 health, but the main gun crits happen at like below 25% health, whereas the Austwind does less. I think it does 40 damage per hit. So maybe your tank will go to like 120 damage and receive a main gun crit. So yeah, obviously the Austwind very strong at chasing down vehicles because it's so fast in those situations. This means you have to get up close and personal if you want to get the most out of the Austwind's penetration. So probably good change. I don't know why they increased it in the first place. It did seem a bit strange to me. Pack 40, target weak point ability, and yeah, especially because its performance against the Stuart then was just too much, too good against the Stuart, which is supposed to be able to kind of fight medium tanks, like tide you over maybe for a minute or two, one engagement with a bit of anti-tank grenade and maybe a bazooka or 2 support. Okay, pack 40, target weak point ability. Stun changed to minus 75% speed and rotation rate. So yeah, I talked about how target weak point on the pack may be a bit too strong. Looks like they agree. So instead of like a stun, it's going to slow you down a tremendous amount and make your tank very low in maneuverability. But it looks like you'll be able to at least fire back with your tank. Looks like maybe the elephant will be the only one that has the stun remaining, but maybe that's fine for the elephant to have it. It kind of makes sense that like a huge elephant shell may cause a stun. Bundle grenades affects both Ost and OKW, and especially now that the elephant doesn't 2-hit tanks. The stun is less devastating than it was before. On to the bundle grenades, affects both Ost and OKW. With the changes to gammon bombs, we are also adjusting bundle grenade to match its counterpart's performance. So damage decreased from 120 to 100. So it's the same as the light gammon bomb on commandos. I never liked 120 damage on bundle grenades. I always felt just way too much throwing, because like one of the ways you countered, if you were a bit too late to notice a grenade being thrown, but you were in heavy cover, one of the ways you could counter that was by staying in the cover, getting the damage reduction, and then retreating after that. A grenade would usually do half your health, and then you'd retreat, unless your squad was super low to start off with, you could generally escape that situation. But with a bundle grenade, 60 damage against a squad in heavy cover, your squad would often get wiped, even staying in cover to milk the most out of the received damage modifier. So I do like this change. AoE distance decreased. So its near damage and its mid damage have been decreased, but its far is staying the same. But then that's far on top of the 100 change. So bundle grenade is getting oh, okay. They're changing this as well. AoE damage far increased from 0.25 to 0.3, so that means at 3.75 range it will be doing 0.3 of 100 damage, so 30 damage. So that's still like a decent chunk of damage, or even on the very edge of the grenade. So that, yeah, that's kind of like not compensating for the the damage reduction here. On the very edges of the grenade, it will still be just as similarly strong as before. Cost also decreased from 45 to 40. It's probably fine. It was always a very expensive ability. Bug fixes and quality of life. Churchill Smoke ability UI position changed from 24 to 34. So I imagine this is, when you're in the corner of your screen, what the hotkey it is bound to. The Churchill Smoke, maybe it was overlapping with something else, or maybe it's been made the same as maybe Panzer Tactician as Austria, maybe something like that, making it a bit easier to use. Fix an issue where Obersoldat and bundle grenades used to be inaccurate. Well, I didn't even know about that. Readjusted pathfinding to improve performance. This is like the second or third time I've seen this in this balance preview. Fix an issue with British air supremacy ability where the anti-infantry strafe in bombing run failed to engage infantry. So this is the one for the commando that I demonstrated in my video. And as I demonstrated, you had to click the ability exactly on the squad. It didn't like lock on, it would just target the exact spot you did the ability. So maybe now it will kind of target infantry in the nearby area. Demos can no longer be planted near capture points. Oh, maybe they had a issue in 1.4. Reverted December balance patch ghost bag changes over concerns for performance drop. Okay. Fix an issue where Vanguard doctrine would not engage infantry. Yes, I saw this. I casted a game with this issue. The game was Hector. Was that 2v2 on Vo Farmlands? Saw that bug. And I thought it wasn't in the live game, so yeah. Okay, that's good. They've fixed that. Fixed an issue with 17 piercing shots. 17 pounder piercing shots that allowed the gun to double shoot. So, probably another one of those, double tap things which they're trying to remove this patch. OKW Overwatch sector planes will no longer target casualties. That's a good change. Overwatch sector assault or whatever it is was always very hit and miss, so hopefully this makes it a bit more better, because it can be devastating if it goes off, but yeah, it always seemed to be very erratic, and targeting crawlers is not what you want your expensive off-map ability to be doing. Conscript models no longer all do the URA animation at the same time, so that's just to make it look cooler, I guess. But yeah, ghost bags, maybe the ghost bag changes, they would introduce some kind of check system where they constantly have to check if you're in range, and maybe that's causing a performance drop. Let's go spec changes. So some good changes here. The howitzer changes back from full bounce pack preview. And yeah, I mean, howitzers can be very frustrating to play against if you don't have some way to counter them. But at the same time, very high risk. I mean, yeah, they just if they get one clicked, very punishing. Seems to be like the LFHs seem to be stronger because the allies tend to have less recon like runs and recon passes that can spot the LFHs, especially because a lot of people don't really use their major that well and don't make use of the major recon passes, so they often can't coordinate the recon and a bombing run as well as the Axis do. So yeah, pretty good changes, pretty good. But yeah, I'm worried with the mortar pits, perhaps if they're getting nerfed again. I'm worried about that. But yeah, I do like the bundle grenade change as well. I never liked the 120 damage bundle grenade. So yeah, there's not even anything really to show you here. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the commander breakdown.